made the extremely tough decision to leave my husband last year after being with him for 21 years. My ex-husband did not tell me that he loved me.
She divorced her husband. They've been married for 8 years, but they've known each other for the past 21 years. She said he's a good guy, like 100 is a good guy. And there's nothing anybody can do to tell her, to convince her that he's not a good guy. Let me show you the video.
I made the extremely tough decision to leave my husband last year after being with him for 21 years. We were married for 8 years. And my ex-husband is not a bad guy, wonderful father. But there were some things that would send people into orbit when I would tell them things. Like, number one, and I'm not exaggerating, my ex-husband did not tell me that he loved me. That sends people into outer space when I tell them that. That was something that I accepted, we'll call it accepted, but now I see it as settling. I had accepted this about him, but what ended up happening is years and years and years of what I will consider emotional neglect, unintentionally. I began to resent him. And there's a few videos that I want to make of things that I've learned, especially with us coming up on 1 year divorced, and what I learned about divorcing the good guy, and what a villain that makes you, how hard it is on your kids. I just want this to reach someone going through the same thing or thinking about divorcing the good guy. And if you have questions, if you have concerns that you have for yourself or your kids, drop it in the comments. I'd love for somebody to ask me something, because I feel like my story can help somebody. We're going to start.
In as much as there are a lot of women that are in these shoes, they just want to leave their relationship. Do you guys know that she got a lot of backlash on this video? People were coming for her. Men and women were like, "You're selfish. Why would you do that? Because you wanted to choose yourself, you decided to let a good guy go like that and all of that." You guys, what is your take on this video? Let me know your thoughts about this video down in the comment section respectfully, while I show you some reaction on this video, and I'll see you at the end of the videos.
Accepted this about him, but what ended up happening is years and years and years of what I will consider emotional neglect, unintentionally. I began to resent him. And there's a few videos that I want to make of things that I've learned, especially with us coming up on 1 year divorced, and what I learned about divorcing the good guy, and what a villain that makes you.
Just imagine the ex-husband's perspective. Like, here he is marrying a woman that he thinks just completely accepts him and loves him, but she's actually just settling, and she says that she is accepting of him. But bottom line is that if you still feel a certain way about it, you're not really truly accepting it. You're just kind of pushing it down to the bottom of your feelings, which she then apparently continued to do through the relationship, which does build resentment. But from the man's perspective, he thinks that he's doing everything that he's supposed to be doing because he's a good man, and she sees him as a good man as well. But then many, many years down the line, after you have sacrificed so much for her and for your family, she blindsides you with a divorce. That man is probably devastated. And don't come into the comments and say, oh, she probably told him 10 million times. She admitted that it was silent. The one thing that she did get accurate in this video was that she was made out to be the villain. And that's what I always say to women that are about to divorce a good man for no good reason, is that you better be ready to be the villain. And if you have kids, you're ripping your family apart. You are impacting them in a very negative way. This should be avoided at all costs.
Going through the same thing or thinking about divorcing the good guy. And if you have questions, if you have concerns that you have for yourself or your kids, drop it in the comments. I'd love for somebody to ask me something, because I feel like my story can help somebody.
All of these women say the same thing. You know what? I'm on the internet and I'm doing this because I feel like my story can help somebody else. Well, here's my question. Did this create a better or a worse environment for your children? Because I didn't even know that you had children until you just mentioned it. Do you feel as though this is going to hurt and ruin the reputation of so-called quote unquote good guy, because everybody knows somebody that knows who you're talking about or who you're talking to when you decide to throw him under the bus on the internet? And then last but not least, do you think after a year of being divorced, and I'm assuming that you've probably tried to jump on an app or try to talk to somebody else, do you believe that you've actually had or made a smart decision because you were emotionally in a bad space because you started to resent him? Because for men, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't say I love you, but I could think of 10,000 worse things. And a lot of times for men, the way that we show that we love you is through our actions, not necessarily through our words. The words are the reinforcing of you bearing good fruit. Those would be my questions to this woman.
A couple days ago, I posted a video about how I divorced the good guy.
Hey, darling. Hopefully you see this. I had to take a break from the statistics homework to respond to your video because I feel you. I commend you for getting on here and telling your truth. A lot of your story resonated with me, mainly the fact of like how young you guys got married. I got married to my now ex-husband when I was 22, but we had been together since we were 18. And what a lot of people don't want to talk about or like be honest with themselves about is that I don't know where you're from, but I live in North Carolina in the South. And in the South, women are conditioned to get married. Specifically, the thing that I heard in high school was that you're supposed to go get your MRS degree. Most of the women, I don't know how it is now, but at least when I graduated high school in 2008, their parents, mostly it was like old money, like the affluent white people, their mothers told them that you need to apply to NC State and go there and get your MRS degree from one of those young men that are going to school to be an engineer. That's what we were told. I was raised to be a wife. So I said I found my high school sweetheart. We met at 18. We were together for 4 years. Before we got married, we got engaged before he went off to basic training. And the interesting thing about that is I gave him an out before he went to basic training because he was kind of teeter-tottering between active duty and reserves. I knew that I did not want to live an active duty military life, but I knew that it would have afforded him more of an opportunity if he went active duty. And I told him, I said, I don't want an active duty life, but if that is what you want to do, go do it. And if we're meant to be together, we will find each other again. But I don't want to do an active duty life. He chose to do reserves. And a part of me wonders to this day if he resents me for that. I didn't force him to stay married to me. I will say that I kind of was like, you're going to ask me to marry you before you go to basic training. If this is what we're doing, I shouldn't have done that. And I've admitted to that. But a lot of the women that are getting divorced now got married at a very young age before our brains were fully developed. And now that we know as women, as people in general, now that we know that our brains are not fully developed till we're 25, we're passing that information on to our children, our girl children and our boy children and our non-binary children. And they are now choosing to marry later. Or they're not prioritizing marriage at all. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think you know this, but people giving you shit about leaving a 21 year marriage, they're projecting onto you because that's something that they wish they had. They wanted that for themselves. And everybody wants what they cannot have. Yeah. I was only married for 10 years. I was with my ex-husband in total for 14 years. We have an 8-year-old daughter together. And it was good until it wasn't. But just like you, there were red flags even before we got married. But I just thought that that was how life was supposed to go. I'm sure he saw red flags in me. But we both really didn't have great representation of what a healthy relationship is supposed to look like. And it didn't help that the COVID pandemic really just kind of, I like to say that it blew up what we knew to be true about society and relationships and love. So many people that I know that were married during quarantine and the height of the pandemic are no longer married. There are some people that are on marriage 2 and 3 at this point, but a lot of people got divorced because they had to sit in the same house with those people that they thought they knew, and they realized, oh, I don't even really like this person like that. But because we've been so distracted by life things, I didn't even know that I didn't like you. But now we can't go no damn where I don't like you. Get the out of my face. To this day, I don't know why my ex-husband decided he did not want to be married to me. I fought tooth and nail to stay married because I was raised to be a wife. I was raised to not do divorce. But I could not be happier now that I am divorced. Is it a struggle? Hell yeah. My washer went out earlier this week. My phone was cut off, but I had a friend help me with that. But I get to come into this house and not have to worry about making myself small, making sure I walk on eggshells, making sure I don't say the wrong thing to upset this man with this fragile male ego. And now I've been talking to a man, and it is easeful and it is calming, and I'm looking at him like, what is it that you want, and why are you being like this? I mean, the attention that he gives me is just, he just does it. And he's like, and I'm not doing it for any other reason but besides, this is what you deserve. Like, I don't expect anything from it, but because he gives it so willingly, hell, I'm ready to give him everything that he wants. He's gonna see this. He just texted me. But I'm here to tell you, as a fellow divorcee, you did what you had to do. You were selfish. And there's nothing... My big ass puppy. You were selfish and you chose yourself. I don't know if you guys have kids together. I can't remember if you've mentioned that in any of the videos. But if you have children, you have set an example for those kids that it is better to choose yourself and be the best mom you can be than to be trapped in a marriage where you have to water yourself down. I have a video on my profile if you would like to go look. It was the divorce effect. I need to redo that video because even in that video, like the difference between my divorce and at the time I made that video, I don't even look like that anymore. I look drastically different from the after in that video. So I'm proud of you. I love that you chose yourself. And don't listen to them haters. They're upset because either they wanted what you had, or they're in the same situation and they think they can't get out. I'm here to tell all of the women that if you're afraid of doing it by yourself, you already are. You just have a 200-pound weight holding you down. Cut it off. Because you've been doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
Get rid of the dead weight.
A couple days ago, I posted a video about how I divorced the good guy after being married for 8 years, but we were together for 21 years. And that's gotten quite the attention, 2 million views at this point. I have made some follow-up videos saying that I would eventually tell my story the way I want to tell it on my own terms, because that's what I came here for. I've been very apprehensive because the comment section is gnarly. And I know that the reason why I left is not the same story as a lot of people, and it is very selfish. The reason why I left was very selfish. And I'm ready for all the hate that's going to come, because I know from that comment section and from my inbox that there are so many women who are afraid to say the same thing. Let's start here. People fail to realize a man can be a good guy, a great father, but a horrible husband. The reason why I decided to pick this comment is because it's the #1 liked comment. That means a lot of people resonate with that. A lot of you are married to a good guy on the outside, but not a good guy on the inside. That was not the case. Nobody will be able to convince me on any video and any comment that my ex-husband is a bad guy. I share one tidbit of information that I considered emotional neglect and that I was settling, but I accepted about him, was that he couldn't tell me that he loved me. And that was not an exaggeration. A question that I get a lot is, did you tell him you loved him? I did, but I stopped doing that after a while. My ex-husband and I met when I was 16. We had our first child when I was 19. A lot transpired over that time. In the beginning, yes, he could tell me that he loved me. So much to unpack there, and I will go more into, what happened over the years, if that will help someone. But people are wondering, why did I leave? Why did I leave? I left because I wanted to. I left because I didn't want to be married anymore. I left because I didn't enjoy marriage. There were a lot of things wrong in that relationship, and I think that we had grown apart. I never felt like I could be myself. I never felt like I could be myself. If you go through my videos, you will see a transformation happen, and that transformation did not happen until I divorced my husband. I've never felt more like myself than I have in my entire life. I now know what love feels like. All the things that my husband did to show me that he loved me, I can do for myself. And that might be selfish. And I knew I was going to break my children's heart. And we have a lot to unpack here. But I left because I wanted to. Because essentially I was in a relationship with somebody that I really didn't even like. And I felt like he didn't like me. He was attached. 21 years is a long time. We had a lot of appearances to upkeep. There was no abuse happening. There was years and years of emotional neglect on his part and mine. We resented each other. I did him a favor. Let's start here.
I feel like when you've been together with someone for a very long time, let's say from 10 years and above, it kind of start getting like attachment. It's not going to feel like love. It's not going to feel like routine, especially if both of you were not really into each other the very first time, or you guys just like each other like bare minimum, which was not really, really deep. At the point, it's going to feel like roommate situation. And because I don't know why her husband never told her that he loves her. And people like action speaks better than words. If he doesn't tell her, at least he's showing her. Well, he needs to tell her. Even though we know that you need to watch the action, but he still needs to tell her. It's because he doesn't love her. It just feels like we've been together. Sometimes some people tell you, I don't love my husband, or I don't love my wife. I don't like how she does, or I'm not happy in the relationship, I'm not happy in the marriage, and all of that. And you ask them, like, why can't you leave this person? And they tell you, like, I can't just leave. Like, we've been together for 20 years. I can't leave. Like, we're practically attached. They know that there's no, like, they don't have that connection anymore, but they cannot leave. I feel like that is that point that both of them were in that relationship. They're really like, okay, you know what? We've been together for a very long time, so let's just make this work. Because if you're already so attached to your partner, leaving them is not easy. People say leave your partner, leave your husband, da da da. If you've been together for a very long time, it is not always easy to leave. Like, it's never easy to leave. Do I feel like she's selfish for choosing herself? Yes. But I feel like that is the best thing. We need to be selfish. I feel like if you're thinking about how long you've known somebody and you feel like you can never fall apart with that person, even if you feel like things are not working out like that, you're not really, really happy in that thing, in that relationship with the person, you might not want to leave the person because you're afraid of the attachment. I feel like that attachment is, you can be so attached to somebody, but you might not even love them. You might not even love them or really, really like them, but you can be attached to them. You just feel like your normal routine, they have to be in your life. Probably they're the mother to your children, your baby daddy. Like, you just have to be attached to them. Doesn't mean that you love them or you want to do life with them. You guys, what is your take on this video? I really like to know your thoughts about this video down in the comment section. Respectfully, as always, Sugar Mara David, and thank you so much for tuning into this video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Please like and share and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one, guys.